Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Today we return to a tense story. One missing page in Alex's ledger may reveal that someone is already inside their family's life. Sometimes trouble does not arrive with loud footsteps or a broken lock. Sometimes it waits quietly inside your own house, between two pages of a ledger, where one missing line can turn a season of hard work into confusion, debt, and fear. That night, while Henry asked why his father was still counting money in the dark, Tu Na realized something painful. The real danger was not only losing money, it was not knowing who had already put their hands inside their life. The missing ledger page was no longer only about money. The warning note was no longer only an annoyance, and the work Alex had done in the dark was no longer just bookkeeping. It was the beginning of understanding what kind of pressure had entered their life and how close it had already come to the child inside the house. Alex stepped forward. Tu Na moved without being told and reached Henry first. Some kinds of love are loud. Theirs was not. He did not smile. He rested one hand on the wooden gate and looked toward the house with the stillness of someone who already knew where to look. Alex stood up slowly. Tu Na's fingers tightened around the towel. Henry, hearing the movement in the adults before hearing the stranger, turned and looked too. The man's voice carried across the yard. "Is Henry here?" In that moment, every number from the night before changed shape. Theirs moved quickly, quietly, and in the right direction, and standing there between the table of rebuilt records and the gate where a stranger had spoken their son's name, Tu Na finally understood something she would never forget. A home is protected in layers. By locked gates? Yes. By alert eyes? Yes. But also by clear records, shared burdens, and the refusal to let confusion grow in the dark. So here's the quiet warning inside this story. If your home depends on work, keep your records in a way that still makes sense when you are exhausted, because exhaustion is when small leaks become serious losses. Simple beats clever, clear beats impressive, and shared understanding beats lonely control. By morning, the house moved again like any other day. Tu Na washed vegetables at the basin. Henry dragged a little basket across the porch. Even Henry, without understanding any of it, kept wandering in and out of the room where the notebooks were stacked, as if children can sense when adults are trying to hold a house together. And maybe they can. The morning should have felt ordinary. Instead, it felt like the kind of calm that comes right before another test. Alex was at the table again, this time in daylight, matching names to payments. Tu Na was near the kitchen doorway, drying her hands on a towel. Henry sat on the floor with a spoon, tapping the leg of the bench and humming to himself. Then the dog barked, not wildly, just once, then again, sharp enough to change the air. Alex lifted his head. A man was standing outside the gate. Not a neighbor. Not someone from the usual buying route. Not anyone Tu Na recognized from the market or the transport road. He did not come in. Sunlight touched the old wood near the steps. From the road, a neighbor called out a greeting as if nothing in the world had shifted. But inside the family, something had shifted. Tu Na no longer saw the ledger as Alex's job. Alex no longer treated worry as something to swallow in silence, because when a family can still see clearly under pressure, it becomes much harder to break them. By the time the kettle needed reheating, they had created a new system on the table, one ledger for official farm records, one backup sheet kept in a separate place, one simple summary after each sale, total sold, total spent, money left, and one promise: no more carrying the burden alone. It did not solve everything. The torn page was still torn. Someone had still touched what was not theirs. The warning note still existed. She looked back through the door and saw Alex finally closing the ledger, not because all danger had passed, but because now he had something stronger than suspicion. He had a pattern, and patterns reveal intention. Whoever had taken that page had chosen one shipment, not a random one. A shipment where expenses could be manipulated. A shipment where transport costs were easy to argue over. A shipment tied to movement, cash, and several hands. That was when Alex said the thought he had been carrying all evening. "They do not only want money." Tu Na turned back. "They want us tired," he said. "They want us second-guessing every number until we make mistakes on our own." That is how harm often works in real life. Not always through one big attack, but through enough confusion that you begin damaging yourself. We count before the harvest leaves the yard. That was the second improvement. Before selling, estimate every visible cost. During selling, write every actual cost. After selling, compare what you expected with what really happened. This three-step habit sounds ordinary. But ordinary habits are often what keep a family from drifting into silent loss. Want a simple example? If your pomelo sale is $10 million, it does not mean you earned $10 million. Take out picking labor, take out packaging, take out transport, take out loading help, take out damaged goods, take out the small cash you forgot to mention because it seemed unimportant. What remains is the number your home can trust, and only trusted numbers should guide decisions for savings, repairs, school items, medicine, or future planting. Tu Na listened with more care than ever before because now the lesson was not abstract. Henry stirred in his sleep and murmured from the bedding. Both of them turned at once. That is family life, isn't it? Even in the middle of worry, the smallest sound from a child pulls your whole heart back to what matters. Not profit for pride, not records for control, but steadiness, food, safety. A home where tomorrow does not feel like a trap. Tu Na lowered her voice. "From now on, I want to know the real number, even if it is smaller." Alex looked at her and gave the slightest smile. Smaller truth is better than bigger confusion. That may have been the clearest line of the night, and maybe the most useful. Because many people do the opposite. They cling to the larger number because it comforts them for a day. Then the missing money punishes them for a month. But the house felt different already. Not safe, exactly. Clearer. And clarity is sometimes the first form of protection. Before dawn, Tu Na stepped out onto the porch with the empty cup. The air smelled faintly of soil and damp wood. The garden sat in shadow. A rooster called somewhere beyond the bamboo. That sounds small, but it changes how a family feels. There is a big difference between "we earned nothing" and "we earned something, but costs were eating the middle." One creates despair, the other creates a plan. Alex leaned back, rubbed his eyes, and for the first time that night, the tension in his shoulders loosened. "Next season," he said, "we do not wait until the end to count." Tu Na nodded immediately. It was sitting in front of her in pencil marks and torn thread. She thought of the days she had stretched household money, assuming a good shipment had protected them more than it had. She thought of how easy it would have been to blame bad luck or prices or the season without seeing the deeper problem. Sometimes the danger is not that money is small, it is that money is blurry, and blurry money makes every future step heavier. But if you do not write transport, labor, repairs, food for workers, packaging, and small cash leaks, your ledger becomes a comfort story, not a tool. And a comfort story will not save you when pressure comes. Near midnight, the room grew cooler. Tu Na wrapped a towel around her shoulders. Outside, a motorbike passed far down the road and faded away. Alex and Tu Na rebuilt the missing shipment slowly. They remembered the day by details. Write the reason. 6 weeks later, the reason matters almost more than the number. Why was transport higher? Why was labor added? Why did cash leave quickly? Without the reason, every strange amount begins to look suspicious. With the reason, you can tell the difference between a real expense and a hidden hand. Bit by bit, the lost page came back. And once it did, another truth appeared. The shipment had not failed. It had only been misunderstood. And this is something worth remembering in any home, whether you grow pomelos or sell noodles or earn a salary in town. Do not keep all the truth in one notebook, one phone, or one person's head. Have a main record, have a simple backup, and speak the numbers out loud together before memory changes shape. A common mistake is writing down only money received because it feels encouraging. The buyer wore a gray cap. One basket broke near the gate. Henry cried because he wanted to sit on the tractor. The road was muddy at the low turn. The driver asked for extra because the load had to be shifted twice. Memory alone is dangerous with money, but memory attached to receipts, dates, names, and reasons becomes useful. That is another practical habit many families need. When an unexpected cost appears, do not just write the amount, but not the way it looked. There is a practical lesson here that sounds simple, but it changes a family the moment they truly understand it. Selling is not the same as keeping. If you do not separate revenue from real take-home money, confusion will live in your house like an extra person. And confusion is expensive. Some people think money trouble begins when there is not enough income. Sometimes it begins earlier, when no one can tell what is coming in, what is going out, and which number is the truth. Tuna looked again at the torn ledger. Then whoever removed this page, she said, did not just want to take paper. Alex's expression hardened, but his voice stayed calm. No, they wanted us confused. That line sat in the room heavier than any argument, because being made poor is one kind of harm. Why didn't you tell me this was weighing on you? Alex took longer to answer that question than he did the numbers. I thought I should check first, he said. I did not want to worry you without proof. That answer would sound loving to many people, and maybe it was. But love carried alone can become another burden. Tuna did not cry. She was too tired for dramatic tears, and this was not that kind of night. She simply looked at the receipts, the rough tear in the ledger, the pencil marks on Alex's hand, and understood how many evenings he had spent protecting the family with silence. That realization hurt in a different way. Not because Alex had done wrong, but because she had been standing beside him all this time without seeing how much weight he was carrying. So she did something small and important. She pulled the empty rice sack from under the bench, turned it over, flattened it, and started making columns. Sales, farm costs, transport, household use, cash still in hand. Alex looked at her. What are you doing? If one page can disappear, Tuna said, then the truth should live in more than one place. That was the first improvement. Not expensive, not complicated, just wiser. Being made uncertain is another. When you cannot trust the record, you waste energy doubting yourself, doubting each other, doubting what really happened. A missing page can turn husband against wife, worker against owner, memory against fact. That is why good records are not only about money, they are about peace inside the house. Tuna set Henry down on the bedding and came back to the table. The edge still clung to the thread of the ledger, rough and uneven, like someone had pulled it in a hurry. Tuna moved closer. What happened here? Alex did not answer right away. He touched the torn edge with his thumb, then looked back at the receipts. This page covered the pomelo shipment from last month, the one with the extra transport fee. Henry, half awake in the next room, padded over in his little sandals and leaned against Tuna's leg. His hair was warm from sleep. His voice was soft. "Why is Papa counting money in the dark?" For 1 second, no one spoke. That is how some fear enters a home, not with shouting, with one simple question from a child who can feel something is wrong before he understands it. Tuna lifted Henry into her arms. Alex finally looked up, and in that tired light, Tuna saw what had been building for days. Not only suspicion, but strain. He pulled another notebook closer and began rebuilding the missing page line by line from memory, receipts, and what he could still verify. Tuna sat beside him with Henry now asleep against her shoulder. The porch light behind them cast a weak yellow line through the doorway. "Look," Alex said quietly. The sales number was not the problem. He wrote one amount. Then, underneath it, he added the picking labor. Then packaging. The house was already quiet when Tuna noticed the light. Not the warm kitchen light from earlier, when the kettle was still singing and Henry was fighting sleep with a spoon in his hand. This was a smaller light, thinner, coming from the corner room near the old shelf where Alex kept the farm records. The kind of light that made the wooden walls look tired. Outside, the yard had gone still. The gate was shut. The dust on the path had settled. Even the dogs in the next house had stopped barking, but Alex was still awake. Tuna stood by the doorway for a moment without speaking. Alex sat at the low table with the ledger open, one hand pressing the page flat, the other moving slowly over the numbers. Beside him were a pencil, a small basin of washed pomelos ready for the morning, and 3 folded receipts weighted down by a metal cup. He had been doing this more often since the warning note arrived. Not every husband shows worry the same way. Some speak quickly, some get angry. Alex became quieter. He checked the gate twice. He walked the garden rows before sunrise. He counted things that used to need no counting. That was what Tuna noticed first. And that night, she noticed something else. One page was missing, not loose, not folded, torn. The kind a person carries alone because they think protecting the family means staying silent. That was the night the missing page stopped being just paper. It became a warning, and it also became a lesson that many families learn too late. Income is not the same as money left in your hand. At first, everything about that shipment had looked good. The pomelos sold fast. The buyer had smiled. Then rope and baskets. Then fuel. Then the driver's meal. Then the extra transport cost after the road near the bridge turned bad. Then 2 small cash payments made quickly that day because everyone was in a rush. The total kept shrinking. That is the part many families never see clearly. Gross income feels big because it enters the house all at once. Real money left in hand becomes small because it leaves in many quiet directions. The numbers sounded decent when spoken out loud in the yard, with baskets being loaded and workers wiping sweat with their towels. It felt like a profitable day. That is how many mistakes begin, with a good feeling before a full calculation. You sell more, so you believe you earned more. But Alex had learned to distrust that first feeling. 1 amount comes proudly through the front door. 5 amounts slip out through the side. By the time Alex finished, the number at the bottom was less than half of what the sale had first appeared to bring. Tuna stared at the page. "So all this time, I thought that shipment helped us breathe." Alex gave a small nod. It helped. Subscribe if you want to follow more real family stories where small practical changes bring more peace into the home. That night did not end with perfect safety or easy answers, but it changed the family in a deeper way. The missing page taught them that real security is not only about what enters the house, money, harvest, buyers, or plans. It is also about what the family understands together, protects together, and refuses to leave in silence. In the end, the ledger was not just about profit. It was about trust. And once trust became shared, the house felt a little less fragile, even with danger still waiting at the gate.